Can I have your attention, please? We'll be starting up shortly. Good evening, and welcome to the Lowell Planning Board for Monday, May 5th, 2014. Tonight, we do have a site plan review and a special permit for 1085 Varnum Ave. It's come to my attention that we need a special permit and a site plan. Unfortunately, one of our board members is ill tonight, and one of our other board members cannot vote on this project, so therefore we only have 3 members that can vote. So therefore, whatever the applicant would like to do, basically it is one of 2 things we could do. One would be to continue the whole hearing to a future date. Or number 2, we could proceed, I could open up the public hearing this evening, continue it to the future date, and then when the other board member, Mr. Lockhart, is feeling better, hopefully by the next meeting, we have what's known in our bylaws a Mullen rule, where the planning board member who was not present for a public hearing can review the tape of this evening's decision, and then when he comes in at the next public hearing, they would be allowed to vote on it if they sign off on that Mullen rule saying that they did watch the tape. So I apologize for the inconvenience for the applicants and all the people who are here this evening. So as the chairperson, I'll be willing to do whatever the applicant likes, either continue the whole thing or do the presentation tonight and put it over to the next night and then get some feedback from the board members who can vote. So whichever way the applicant would like to go, we try to accommodate you.
Hello, my name's R. Paul Faxon, and I'm the attorney for the Sisters of Charity at Ottawa and affiliated entities. And we would like to go forward tonight and be able to present our plans. We're ready to go, and we have our whole team here. We do appreciate that there can't be a vote today, and we were alerted of that fact today. That's just something that happens. We understand that. We are in a time-sensitive situation, since we also have some relief that we are seeking through the ZBA, and we have some sensitive construction schedules. So we would like to go forward, and we are going to hear tonight, at your pleasure, from the leadership and also from our architectural team, our civil engineering team, and as well as our landscaping architect. So I'm going to step aside and allow those folks to begin the presentation. So thank you for your time.
What I'm going to do first, I'm going to read the public notice, and then I'll turn it over to the applicant, okay? Okay, thank you. So as indicated, we have a site plan review and a special permit for 1085 Varnum Ave. The Lowell Planning Board will hold a public hearing to hear all interested persons relative to an application by Sisters of Charity of Ottawa seeking a site plan review and special permit approval for the proposed project. The applicant has proposed an approximate 31,454 square foot building featuring 48 unit supportive assisted living units and 15 units for memory care with 157 parking spaces on 327 square feet of land as part of the Duville Senior Care Facility. The proposed project is located in a suburban, single-family zoning district and requires special permit approval and site plan review with the planning board under sections 5.110 and sections 11.4, respectively, from the Lowell zoning ordinance. So can we hear from the applicant, please? Just come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record. Thank you very much.
Good evening. I'm Naomi Prendergast. I'm the president and CEO of Duville Life and Wellness Community, and we're absolutely delighted to be here with you tonight. I'm sure you're all very familiar with Duville, but just as a very quick recap, we are sponsored by the Sisters of Charity of Ottawa. We've been operating on our property on Varnum Avenue since 1960, evolving with the times to meet the changing needs of the community. So today, we operate our 208-bed skilled nursing center, Duville Senior Care, our 33-bed Duville Transitional Care, otherwise known as the Duville Center for Advanced Therapy, that focuses on short-term rehab. We also have an adult day health program that's been up and running since the 1970s. And we also have on our campus 63 affordable independent apartments for seniors, known as Brea Gardens. That's a HUD 202 project. We also have as a tenant New England Rehab Hospital on our campus. They have another 22 beds of acute rehab space. And so we really truly have become the hub of senior care in Lowell. Back in 2008, we launched a strategic plan, and as part of those efforts, we met with various stakeholders in the community. We wanted to find out from their perspective what else we should be doing in Lowell. And one thing we heard was that there was a need for assisted living in Lowell that was affordable. Now, I'm sure you know, or maybe you haven't really given this much thought, but currently there is no assisted living in Lowell. There are in the contiguous communities, but not in Lowell per se. And the other issue facing assisted living is that in Massachusetts, there is no Medicaid relationship to assisted living. So it's a case where it's all at market rate, and if people can't afford to get into assisted living, they cannot avail themselves of those services. Or if they do move into assisted living and are fortunate enough to live a number of years at that level of care, then they're going to run out of money and they'll have to move, which typically means to a nursing home. And so we looked at this as a problem that we could solve for the community, and we launched a capital campaign a few years ago. Our goal, and we're getting very close, is to raise $5 million, so we have an internal subsidy. The idea is of the 60 apartments, 15 for memory loss assisted living, and the other 45 apartments will be supportive housing. So there'll be housing with an overlay of home care services provided by Duville. But of all those 60 apartments, half will be for people of low and moderate income. And that's something that's very important to us because we are a mission-focused organization. And so we're very glad that we're able to come to you tonight ready to launch our program. We know there is the need in the community, and we're also very mindful of the need to be good neighbors to our community. And I hope you'll agree that Duville has taken this very seriously over the years with the development that we've been able to achieve. So we want to make sure that the impact on the community is limited, which it should be, because of economies of scale. For example, the 60 apartments, and there'll be full dining services, but that means there'll be more food on the truck that is our delivery truck. It doesn't mean more delivery trucks. So by integrating what we'll be doing with what already exists, it should be extremely low impact to the community, except for the additional support and care that we'll be able to provide. So now what I would like to do is introduce to you members of our architectural team who will paint a little bit more of a picture about the building itself.
Hi, I'm Paul Young, DiGiorgio Associates Architects, project architect. We are located on 225 Friend Street in Boston, Massachusetts. I believe you have these plans. Just wanted to come through and kind of give you an orientation as to where we have our memory loss 15 apartments, and then a split of 23 and 22 supportive housing assisted apartments. The main entrance, we are contemplating some basement space that would connect into the existing, what we call head house, that was built as part of the DCAT project. And that is where the property line is crafted that John will be able to speak to when we're looking for variance relief, because we are essentially building within the property line setbacks. So the lowest level would have storage and then mechanical and electrical space, modest in footprint, but the storage, I think, could be a benefit to the residents for some of their out-of-apartment storage needs. Down here on the southern end are the 15 single resident apartment with complementing support space. Does have its own segregated dining, what we call a country kitchen, and then there's also a servery, which is essentially serving both memory care as well as the supportive housing assisted. But it's a landing spot. The bulk of the meals would be prepared in the main facility, brought over through the tunnel, up into the servery in here, where things can be reheated or prepared anew to support either the memory care dining needs or the supportive housing dining needs. Dining room's located in here, just off the main entrance. We've got a cafe parlor. This wing is essentially one that houses 23 supportive care apartments. We've got an open stairwell, kind of an ornamental stair that connects us up to upstairs, elevator to make the vertical connection to the second floor. This area over here is roof for the memory care wing to the south. Essentially, primarily all resident care apartments, supporting chapel space, assisted living fitness center, a great room that is essentially activity space for the residents as well. This, for all 3 floors, it essentially goes as is outlined in our application, 32,454 square feet of space over the course of essentially 2 stories, but albeit we do have that little basement space down here. I'll flip through to the elevations quickly. The elevations on these drawings are essentially what we've got in development for our construction documents. So I think I'll just, as part of the application, just probably quickly flip through these because we've got also a 3-dimensional representation that probably tells the story a little bit better.
Anything else you want to add, or anybody else want to?
That's essentially it in a nutshell.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak on behalf of the applicant?
You want me to move this farther closer to you, or?
I just set up plans I can see, whichever's easier for you, sir.
Good evening, John Noonan with Noonan McDowell. We're land surveyors and civil engineers located in Billerica. The proposed addition is to the complex, or the facility, is located in the western portion of their property. So as you're coming up Varnum Ave, it's to the far west that actually abuts the state forest and part of the city of Lowell property. And it's the entrance down at that end that will be used for the entrance to the facility. So vehicles will come in, turn around, drop off, and come out again. So as they come in from Varnum Ave, they will come through to the second entrance, turn to the left, will either be going to the unloading, loading area, or parking for visiting, then exit out and continue out. So that's basically the flow pattern. Residents who are going to live there or staff that will work there will be parking to the rear, in the rear parking lot. So that would be their location. There is also a connection between the 2 parcels. As you drive up the main entrance now, you can see a 1-story structure to the left side of the driving aisle. That's actually a tunnel connector that goes back to the TCU, and it will connect to the new memory care facility and then onto the assisted living. That is actually where we're requesting the 0 setback from the Board of Appeals for our variance.
I'm sorry, where was that, sir? I was looking down. Right there, okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I was making a note, I didn't see it, thank you.
The facility will receive sewer and water from the city of Lowell, and all our stormwater will be handled on-site and will be not discharged off the property. There are existing sewer and water connections within the access road now that will be facilitating to connect. There's a sewer manhole located here which will come through and service the complex. We do have a grease trap for our cafe and our reheat kitchen to take care of any grease before it enters the city's sewer system. We're putting in probably an additional 6,600 gallons a day of sewage flowage that will be going and be treated by the city. The stormwater is this blue line here. We have an existing 8-inch water line that comes up and loops through our campus, then goes back out to Varnum Ave. We'll be coming off of that and connecting to that for our fire protection and for our domestic water service. The stormwater itself, we have basically 2 main lines, one along the back and then one in the front. The outside stormwater flows will be collected independently of the roof water. The roof water will be collected and treated separately into a leaching system right over here. And the roof water or street water and parking lot water will be located and collected over in that location. Both facilities will store and leach 100% of the runoff, and there is an overflow protection that goes onto our own detention basin back here, which also this facility goes to, but they only receive water if the systems were to fail. There's no discharge from these pipes. They're strictly for emergency. That basically recaps what's proposed for the stormwater. There is a valley in here from all this water until the further west of us does flow through our property, so we are collecting it to the rear, and we have one catch basin up here which collects a low point that's in this location right here. So we're making sure that we're collecting all the abutters' stormwater that flows onto our property, and it doesn't create an erosion problem. As you know, there's also retaining walls. We have 2 retaining walls. We have a high one and a low one. The low one is just meant to carry a 4-foot uniform wall along the back of the property, and then we'll break up, go a few feet back, 15 feet to 25. It does vary depending on where you are on the lower wall, till then we hit the higher wall, and that higher wall elevation will vary based on the topography behind it. So it won't be at a continuous height. It will vary with the slope of the abutting land behind us. The only one that's going to have a uniform height will be the lower wall. That would be 4 feet consistent all the way down the length of it. And that's basically the civil aspects of the proposed project. David J. will discuss the landscaping that's going to be proposed for the abutters and for the complex.
My name is David J. with Weinmeier J. Associates, landscape architects out of Waltham. I have prepared a plan intended to soften the views of the building from the main access drive, as well as soften the access drive from the views from the windows from the apartment units. With flowering trees and shrubs along the edge, plenty of planting at the entrance, the parking lot planting to meet code, and off the end of the building we have an enclosed memory garden. Behind the dining area is a reflection garden, including a fountain built into the retaining wall, and along the back of the building, a walking garden, which will have some therapeutic components for exercise. There's also a cafe patio. There are 2 abutters to the property that we are concerned with. One is here, and he's been very cooperative, very supportive of the job. We are planting the edge here with pines. The woods are currently pines and oaks. With a band of pines, there's another abutter in here off this corner. We are maintaining the existing buffering that's there. We will supplement it by transplanting some existing material off of the hillside up to the top of the slope near his property line. These properties are quite a bit higher than the existing, than the building, than the proposed building and the existing grade, and the lights, I do not anticipate being any issue to either abutter. We're not adding any night lights that he would be able to see over here. And this one poles are 18 feet high, and the grade change is about 13 feet. I don't think he will be seeing the light source from, it's a very flat lens on these fixtures. We have the utilities located in the corner here with heavy screen fencing for the generator, primarily. And that's what I have.
I noticed that on some of our comments that we had from our senior planner, you responded to some of those, I believe, and you sent us a update on that, response to comments?
Yes.
Could you just touch briefly on those, if you would, please, sir?
There was concern about the number of trees. We do have the number of trees required. We have the 5% landscape area within the parking lot. Per code, I have 23 trees inside the parking lot and around the periphery. There's another question about the lighting, which I addressed, the concern about glare to abutting properties. If necessary, these can be, in fact, for our own purposes, some of these lights would probably have house side shields, and I don't anticipate that they would be needed for the neighbors, but that is an option.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to speak on behalf of the applicant? Anybody else from the applicant? If not, anybody here this evening who wants to speak in favor of the project? Anyone else in favor? In favor? In favor? Hearing none, that portion of public hearing is, we'll stop that part of it. And anybody want to speak in opposition? In opposition? In opposition? Hearing that at this point in time, I'll turn it over to the board members who may have any comments. Mr. Boyle, can I start with you if you don't mind?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You are applying for the section 5.1.1.10 special permit because the lot, as shown, reduces from the frontage to less than 80%?
Correct.
Okay. Your applicant owns the abutting land. Why are you pursuing your special permit instead of filing an A&R to eliminate that lot line? That would also save you the trouble of applying for the zoning variance for your underground tunnel, because it would simply be under one combined property.
No, we still have a tunnel, because it goes from here to here. No matter how we put a lot line through here, we need a 0 setback.
What, okay, isn't it the same entity that owns the?
No, they're all different entities.
Okay,
All under the same umbrella,
okay,
but they are different entities.
okay.
Sure. Just come over to the microphone, thanks, sir, and state your name for the record, thank you.
So, R. Paul Faxon, Counsel, Archstone Law in Waltham, Mass. There is a series of financing that Duville has entered into over the years that involve various different funding mechanisms, private lenders, and the like. And as part of that, one of the things that happens is oftentimes you need to set up separate entities, affiliated entities with separate financing and separate arrangements, separate licensing. So while they're all under the Sisters umbrella, there are separate entities. And eventually this new A&R lot will actually be an entity, will be conveyed into another Duville entity, Duville Leadership. It's not that we want to make work for ourselves, but from the larger business and financing perspective, especially with the mix of federal and private funding, that's why we've had to create those different types of entities. But you're right, from a practical standpoint, the campus works as a whole. But technically, there's certain situations where we have a side yard because they're technically in different legal ownerships, even though they're affiliated, that we have to come to you. But a lot of the concerns that one normally would have when issuing a special permit or a variance are really obviated because we are the neighbors that are impacted.
So you reached out to the neighbors, is what you're telling us?
Pardon me?
You reached out to the neighbors, is what
You're
you're
right.
telling us?
And they're fully supportive, Mr. Chairman, of the project.
have to
Thank
reach
you.
far. Okay, landscaping. Have you been in to speak with the DPD about the landscape design?
No.
Okay, there are some excellent design planners in the Division of Planning and Development. We very often, this board takes action, when we issue a permit, we require landscaping plans be approved by the DPD. I would advise you to get in to see DPD design and planners as soon as possible.
Okay.
Okay. I was also very pleased to see you addressing the issue of the shortage of trees by talking about additional ones, more than what are shown in the landscaping plan, around the perimeter of the new parking lot.
Yes.
I would, is it, you're doing, the landscaping for the entire project, both the specific little gardens as well as, the buffer on the outside and everything?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. Great. This is sort of a little bit unusual when we're talking about landscape design there, in that the property is large enough and abuts natural or enough semi-natural land that we actually need to take into account issues like wildlife habitat. Whereas normally we're just focused mainly on issues like appearance and stormwater and other, more urban things. And so I'd like to make sure that selection of species for what's going on in the back of the property and the side of the property and everything is properly taking that set of values into account.
Certainly. Okay.
And that was really all I had, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Boyle. Mr. Malovich, any questions, concerns?
I just have one. How are you handling the solid waste?
I'll answer that, I'm sorry. I'm Matt Kittner, I'm the Facilities Director, and I'm also in charge of the construction. Currently, our solid waste is all handled by two large dumpsters. We have a compactor that we put just trash in, and we also have a recycling, what we call a commingle, recycling dumpster. They're fenced in, kind of in the middle of the property. So all of the waste from this, building, because the housekeeping and maintenance and dietary is going to be, out of the central system, will come back to those dumpsters. So we're not anticipating adding any dumpsters for this project. We're just going to handle them with, with the existing dumpsters. And we are starting to look at there is a new initiative, a new law coming out about food waste. So we're looking at that. If you generate more than a ton over a certain amount of time, then you have to handle that separately. So we're in the middle of kind of evaluating all those things. But yes, I mean the answer is to the central dumpsters. I would also like to add that we have had at least 2 meetings, maybe 3, with the planning department. I requested meetings, and we did invite all of the departments to come and meet with us and ask questions. We showed them these plans as as they were being developed. We did the same thing with the Pawtuckaville Association. We had 3 meetings with them, so they've all seen the plans, as well as the abutters. We've worked closely with them, understanding that we want to be good neighbors and make sure that we keep everyone in the loop as to what's going on and address concerns right away. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anything else, Bob?
No, just a comment. I visited the site, and the hill is such a great screen for the neighborhood that they won't even know it's there. So that's just a point I want to make.
Okay, thank you. Does staff have any comments? I know we've read what your comments just came to us, and that the reply that was given back to us. Was either Suarez or Judith have any questions or comments at this time?
I believe they did answer adequately some of the concerns that I had in the letter from the landscape architect and also from the civil engineer.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else want to be heard on anything? If not, we'll continue the matter. I'll make a motion that we continue to our next meeting, which is 2 weeks from tonight. Hopefully by then, our other board members will be feeling much better, and he'll be back on board with us, and that'll give him plenty of time to review tonight's meeting, and hopefully we can give you a decision when we come back in 2 weeks. So I'll make a motion that matter be continued public hearing stay open, be continued to May 19th.
So moved.
Motion made and second, all in favor, say aye. Okay.
Aye.
Again, I apologize for being short-handed tonight, sorry about that, thank you.
Thank you.
This is a good plan.
It's a nice project.
I was surprised when I looked at the thing.
Yours.
I know the site. Said, the name.
Okay, moving along, do any of the board members have any comments from any of the other boards that they're on? Jerry, anything? No? No follow-up? Okay. The only thing I'd like to do is I'd like to welcome Judy to staff. She's our new senior planner, as we were told last meeting that she'd be here tonight. So we welcome you and wish you well. So like I say, if you have any questions ahead of time, feel free to call us, email us is probably the easiest way, so we'll get back to you. And don't be shy. I mean, if you have any questions, Swazi can tell you basically our routine, if not Joe. But I know it's been a little turnover, so some of us have been here for a while. So,
Well, it's worked out very well so far, thank you.
well, you're lucky you had a short meeting tonight. Swazi's been here for some of our longer ones. But so, if we have no other matters to discuss, we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion's made in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, chair votes yes, so we are adjourned. Good night, and thank you, everyone.